Welcome back, good people of Earth, to our wonderful little music survival guide podcast that we've been doing now for a couple weeks. Very exciting. It's good. We've been having a really good time. This is episode number 4. It is Friday, February 9th. You'll be hearing this in a few days. Yesterday was actually my mother's birthday. She's been gone for 7 years now. So happy birthday, Ma. Thank you for being a powerhouse of a woman. That is for sure. And today is the anniversary of Jellyfish's Spilt Milk record, their second record, 25 years old. I think I probably mentioned them on every show so far. Our episode 0 actually is from a phone interview I did with the keyboard madman himself, Roger Joseph Manning Jr. That is also available for you to listen to. We talked about a lot of really cool stuff. So if you like Jellyfish, if you like his work, I definitely recommend checking that out. Anyways, hope you've been enjoying this podcast. Last week was an especially important episode to me, as it was a reunion of my band, Nox Cult, which Monkey, my pod partner in crime, was in. He's here tonight. He's kind of floating around in the background. I think he went to go do his dishes right now, actually. So he's downstairs doing some dishes, getting things nice and clean. So that was extra special, as it was the first time in nearly 2 years that the three of us had been in a room together since the band played its last note. But alas, this episode, this episode isn't about that, nor is it really even about me. I'm just like the crypt keeper in this situation. I'm just here to share other great stuff with you and to try and be as charming and witty as I can be in the process, which I hope I've achieved a little bit of that throughout the course of the last couple of weeks. I'm merely a conduit for the greatness that has been for the past few weeks. And, there's been a bunch of people responsible for that. The people that have come on here and hung out with us and talked with us. The music that we played, it's been really great. I don't think I would change a thing. Honestly, this is exactly how I would want this to be, whether 2 people hear it or 200 people hear it. I think we're doing something cool. So tonight is a bit different, as I'm flying mostly solo. No guest this week. I figured, try something different for our Music Survival Guide podcast. Tonight, I am featuring a band you might not know called AAA Battery. I thought this would be a cool idea every so often to kind of mix stuff up and to maybe put some music on your radar that you might not be aware of, which I hope that is the case. But then if you know these bands that we might feature, throughout the course of these little episodes here, then kudos to you. That is great. We should totally have a conversation about them. Let's start with this band, AAA Battery. How do I know about AAA Battery? Well, their singer, the magical, wonderful, maniacal little genius guy, Spookey Ruben, is their singer. Okay? How do I know Spookey? Well, years ago, it's a funny story. Years ago, I was home and I was sprawled out on the floor. I was doing some homework. Actually, this is a long time ago when his first record came out, and America had much music in the States here for about a year. Now, Much Music was whatever Canada's answer to MTV. Now, as you know, now MTV is like not even anything of what it once was, the greatness that it once was. I don't really know what happens on MTV now. I think it's a lot of reality TV, and there's a couple of shows here and there. And do they play music anymore? I don't even know. But even at this point in time, MTV was kind of, kind of weak. So I was feeding myself heavily on a diet of Much Music, which was so amazing for the year that we had it here. I discovered so many good bands, man. That could be a whole other episode. So many good bands. It just excites me so much. I want to tell you all about that and talk about all those bands. But tonight, this is a AAA Battery eccentric episode. So I was doing my homework, and all of a sudden, space and time around me started to bend. And I was very confused at the sounds that I was hearing, because I wasn't quite sure what to make of it at all, honestly. And it was a Spookey Ruben video for his single, the first single off of his record, Modes of Transportation, Volume 1. And I'm going to play this song here. We're going to play this song for you shortly. But and you'll see what I mean, how it kind of might melt your brain and make you scratch your head. But it's so wonderful, and if you do pursue him after this, you're gonna be happy you did. So let's get to it. Let's play "These Days Are Old" by Spookey Ruben off of that record, Modes of Transportation, Volume 1, and you tell me if you want to leave a comment or write or whatever, or none of those things. Tell me what you think of it. Write to Spookey. He's around too. I mean, he would get a kick out of it. He'd appreciate the fact that maybe, hey, you discovered him hanging out with Music Survival Guide. So, Spookey Ruben, These Days Are Old. Godspeed.
This desire enables gold till I'm old. Your soul, it's too late now. Ooh, yeah, 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 ooh, yeah. 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 Love, feeling lost, good dreams, living on in debt.
Oh, yeah. Did that not... I mean, did you not love it? Are you sure? Are you confused? Do you need to listen to it a couple more times? My story of Spooky is just so funny. And over the many years, I've become very, very close friends with him, actually. That record, Modes Volume 1, came out on TVT, actually, which you probably know from the early, the beginning of Nine Inch Nails, really, TVT. I think Gravity Kills was on that label, too. When Spooky put this record out in 95, it was kind of like hailed as the new Pet Sounds, the Beach Boys, the new Pet Sounds for the 90s, I guess, which is interesting. Pet Sounds I discovered much later in time for myself. Pet Sounds is unbelievable if you don't know Pet Sounds. But Spooky's record is just a culmination of so many crazy sounds and ideas, and his vocal ability, his ability as a singer is just crazy, crazy, crazy. All the highs, all the lows, everything that he does. And Spooky's a little guy. He's a little guy, and he's just such a monster, and I adore him so much. He's got a massive, massive catalog of music. Modes of Transportation Volume 1 being the first. Whole bunch of stuff in between that, some EPs, a live EP. He's produced, he's worked with a bunch of great artists like Esthero. His latest record just came out a year and a half ago, I think. This is actually Modes 3. So there are 3 installments of this Modes adventure for you to check out, and you definitely should. Start at the beginning, work your way through it. It is a good time. You will be happy that you did. So now, AAA Battery. The first record that they did came out in 2013, a few years ago. It is called Year of the Woman. I remember listening to this record a lot when it first came out, and I was in a project myself called Emotion Picture, and we were listening to a lot of cool stuff together. My drummer at the time for that project really dug this record, and that was cool for us because when we were into the same like quirky artist or band or whatever, it was just a good bonding experience for us, be it that we were only a two-piece. We were this crazy two-piece, and we'd geek out over AAA Battery one week, and then I actually turned him on heavily to Darren Hayes, the singer of Savage Garden. And you might think like, oh, really? Savage Garden? I love Savage Garden. Love Savage Garden. But Darren's stuff outside of Savage Garden, the latter work that he's done, if you don't know that, man, that's another thing you really gotta check out. There's so much I can talk about. I don't want to go off the topic of AAA Battery, so we'll go back to Darren maybe in the near future, whenever that might be. Hey, I mean, maybe I'll try to get him on the show. That would be unbelievable. But this AAA Battery record, Year of the Woman, is really spacey. It's weird, it's fun, it's otherworldly. It has the signature Spookey Ruben vocal stuff on there, but it's different guys in the band playing the music and writing with him. So it's different. It's nice to hear that too. I mean, Spookey was even in a band before he did solo stuff called Transilliance, which was like this thrashy math rock kind of thing, which, I mean, it's nuts. It's totally nuts. It's really cool. It's like Suicidal Tendencies meets Mr. Bungle meets, I don't know, Cherry Kool-Aid or something crazy like that. But the influences that are very apparent with the AAA stuff is Rush, Zappa, Pink Floyd, XTC, and even diving deeper into the XTC influence, even a bit of their spin-off project, the Dukes of Stratosphere, all also really great stuff. But I will let you make the comparisons for yourself. I want to play a song off this record called the record is Year of the Woman, and the track is Verbalize Your Head, which I think you will really dig. So here you go, people. Verbalize your head. Now, flash forward a few years, and AAA Battery just released their second record, the sophomore effort, so it is called often in the world of music. This record is called Corrosion of Buddha. They put this out at the tail end of last year, 2017. For me, it's been in heavy rotation. I actually got this record as a Christmas gift from my sister, one of my sisters. The more I listen to it, the more I like it. It's one of those, it might grow on you. It might take some time, but in a few weeks, few months, you're like really immersed in this thing. Or records like that are really neat too, because sometimes you put a record on and it's just like, it's the greatest thing ever, but you just burn it out so fast, and then you put a record on and you don't go back to it for 10 years, and then you're just totally blown away by the fact that you weren't listening to this thing for 10 years. But Corrosion of Buddha is a record that doesn't take a long time to grow on you, maybe after a listen or two, and then you're really kind of like, yeah, I get it. I'm getting it, you know? The more I listen to it, the more I like it. The more I hear in the record, which is really neat. To me, this record is even more palpable than its predecessor, which is awesome. There's growth there. It's not so much different than Year of the Woman, but maybe it's more focused. I don't know. But if AAA Battery, it's like they're their own planet at this point. Only 2 records in, which is really cool, you know, and they're building their solar system, and it's always nice to see bands do that, because not a lot of bands can do that. This album too came out on a label called Rescord, which is the label of band member Joe Madak, an integral member of the trio that is AAA Battery. We'll get into a little bit more of Joe in a bit. But just this week, I had a great and in-depth conversation with the magical third member of AAA, Fred Jetski. Every time I say his name, I want to say Fred Jetski. So if you listen to this, Fred, which I think you will based on our conversation, I'm going to call you Fred Jetski. And I feel like I want to draw you into like a Garbage Pail Kid, and you'll be on the side of the beach with like impaled with a jet ski. So you're Fred Jetski to me from now on. So be ready for that. He plays guitar, does some singing on this thing, brings other wonderful gifts to the table as well. All these guys are multi-talented, multi-instrumentalists, very artistic in a number of ways. When I spoke to Fred this week, we talked about how the band started and all that good stuff. That is actually a really, really great story. Fred and Joe go way back. They are both from Chicago, and having been in bands making records together since, I think he said 1986, which is incredible. That must be a wonderful relationship. So kudos to those guys. Now, Fred had been big into Spookey's work since that first Modes of Transportation record that I had mentioned earlier. He reached out to Spookey because Fred himself and his mom used to sit and listen to records together every Saturday, and Spookey was the last artist that she fell in love with before her passing at the age of 96. See, I told you that's a great story. So Joe and Fred reached out to Spookey to see if he dug what they were doing and to see if he would sing a song or two. And 2 albums later, I guess the answer was a resounding yes. So let's lick our lips and give this record a bit of a taste, shall we? No toppings necessary. It's good enough as it is. Here is track number 4 off of Buddha, Victim of My Life. Dig in. And I do hope you really dug in. And even to expand on their influences, when I was listening, when I first got this and I was listening to it, I personally hear a bit of the Mars Volta also on this record. Some of the horn parts, the kooky breakdowns, the guitar runs. I mean, really, really love it. The cover and art of the record is also really great, being some of Fred Jetsky, Fred's oil paintings. He's also a big baseball fan. Apparently, he's dropping all these like fun little facts as if I was reading his dating site. His page on his dating site or whatever. This week when we were talking, and Joe apparently is an inventor. So how wicked is that? An inventor of great music. Apparently, I had mentioned before these guys have made a bunch of noise for 30 some odd years. When I got my copy of Corrosion of Buddha, Joe threw a bunch of other stuff in there, sent me a copy of a record called The 13 Steps by another project he plays in called A Blurred Moment. Now, this record came out in 2016, so it's new. It's new. However, if I played this thing for you, you'd swear that you just discovered your new favorite record from the late 80s, early 90s. That is a feather in the cap of Mr. Joe, who engineered the record, produced it with the band, as well as played a lot of the really awesome guitar stuff on there and the bass. It's got all the trappings of those great records that you love from The Church, The Cure, Echo and the Bunnymen. It is that good. Very post-new wave, shoegazy, My Bloody Valentine droney goodness. Heck, let's cue up a track off this record. The song is called Closer. So let's do that. Let's get into some of this stuff. One song from this, so good, so excellent. This is Closer.
See through my eyes and events held for so long. Look closer at the carnage howl inside. Even closer, dying deep inside. Effects infecting in my mind. Ashamed to value life again. Inventing, tortured for so long. To touch and feel just once again. Shame forever, color in disguise. Help me bridge things I miss so much. Free together and left to the age. And open arms Things that need a touch to embrace the day when you will return in misery. Never again to turn forever now and left to be free. Something now, something just for me.
Pretty unreal, huh? I mean, did I not tell you? All these bands today that like are attempting to rekindle that sound and vibe, they're missing something. It's just missing something. I don't know what it is, but it's missing something. And I'm not coming down on all these bands, guys, girls that are doing this stuff, new, old, whatever. It's just missing something. But here, you got this band that's way under the radar, which is just a shame, and they are just nailing it. They are just nailing it. It's so good. What else? The title track of this second AAA Battery record, Corrosion of Buddha, has a really great meaning, which I'm going to tell you. This is from Fred himself. Throwing up my quotes on my fingers here. I know you can't see me. An exercise in comprehending the imbalance of heart and mind based on current sociological dysfunction. Pretty serious, huh? You want to hear the title track? What do you think? Are you with me? Are you still with me? This one-on-one thing, is it cool? You want to hear the title track? I certainly do. Let's do it. Here you go. Corrosion of Buddha.
Sometimes
lot of this record is based on the human condition. So it's an important one. It's an important one, and you shouldn't let it pass you by. Music like this, that is important, that is meaningful, that is not necessarily pulling at your heartstrings, just giving it to you straight is what you want to listen to. You know, I don't know what you like. I don't judge. I listen to a lot of different stuff. I listen to some amazing stuff. I listen to some kind of stuff. But the bands like this, man, they're important, and they need to be discovered. They need to be found out. You need to know about them. There are this whole record's really great. I'm trying to what else? There's a lot of other songs on this record actually with guest vocalists, which is neat too. This record more so than the first one, which I don't think had any like guest vocalists on. I think Fred may have sang a little bit on that backup, maybe the lead on one of the tracks on You're the Woman. Cool thing about AAA Battery is that they bring in some other musicians and composers to contribute a bit to a really great melting pot. It's very open-ended. It's a very open-ended world. Like, it goes back to what I was saying about how AAA Battery might as well be their own planet at this point, their own solar system even. Now, I can't play the whole record for you as much as I'd love to, but there are two more songs I'd like to share. One being sung by one of those guest vocalists, Amelia Lugo Fuentes, who sings the track August Blade. This effort being totally acoustic, kind of like singer-songwriter, coffee shop kind of fanfare thing, which is really nice. Stripped down track from the album, which, you know, I mean, it's a departure, but it's still AAA Battery, even though if I played you a couple of AAA Battery songs and then I played you this, you'd be like, oh, well, that clearly isn't the same on the same record. But it is, which is also really nice about AAA Battery, is that they keep you, you know, it's a 4-course meal and a dessert and an appetizer. There's a lot of great stuff going on. So let us get into this song, August Blade, with Amelia Lugo Fuentes on the beautiful lead vocals. There you go.
So young today, face down in the grass, eyelashes kissing blades, feeling so the same, longing for the breeze to wipe the smile off my face. Time runs away, and I blink my eye, and I blink my eye, remembering the day. Feeling a pebble in my shoe, counting the days till I come to you, till I come to you. Pebble, pebble in the dirt, thus leaves traces in my soul. Blow a kiss into the wind, and I walk away. I can feel the ache of the earth and all my inner pain, all my inner pain. Feeling so the same, longing for the breeze to wipe those tears right off my face. Time runs away, and I blink my eyes, and I blink my eyes, remembering the time. ain't a pebble in my shoe, counting the days till I come to you. Till I come to you. Pebble, pebble in the dirt, thus leaves traces in my soul. Blow a kiss into the wind, and I walk away. I walk away. I walk away. Walk away.
I can go on and on and on, guys and girls, about how much I like this record and how much I love anything that Spookey Ruben puts a finger to. I adore Spookey. We're close friends. I don't say that because we're close friends. I mean, I met Spookey years ago because when he put out Modes of Transportation Volume 2, What's a Boy to Do? Me and a couple of my friends, we took like this crazy guerrilla trip to Toronto where we drove up there, and Toronto's about a 10-hour drive for us. We drove there and we did some record shopping. We ate some food. Then we immediately went to the venue Lee's Palace, which is in Toronto, where we saw Spookey Ruben playing, I think maybe one of the first gigs to promote this record, Modes of Transportation Volume 2. And that is when we met, and he was so excited that these like little lunatics came from New York, just to see a show. And after the gig, we hung out with him for a little bit. Then we got back in the car and we pretty much hightailed it on home. So it was loads of fun. It was awesome. And, a bunch of years later, Spookey and I are still really close, and it's great. He's done so many cool things. I mean, he's made records, he's produced, he's made a movie. He does this thing called Naked Brunch out in California every Sunday, which is like a singer-songwriter-y, eclectic, experimental day of music that if you're over there, you should check it out. Or even if you wanted to hit him up to see if you could be a part of that, I'm sure he would welcome you with open arms. It's a very open-minded little gathering. Excuse me, from what I can tell. But, the point of this podcast is that I hope you'll go onward after listening and you'll discover on your own these great artists. We have passed through the show and that we will showcase. Tonight, we're showcasing AAA Battery. It's a different kind of show tonight. I don't have a guest. I'm not chit-chatting with anybody. I'm talking to you guys out there who are hopefully listening and hopefully not sick of me just yet. Stick with me just a little longer. This episode I don't think is going to be as lengthy as a couple of the last one. Well, the last one, the Knox Cult one, was especially long. That thing was about 2.5 hours long. We hadn't talked in years. That was the first time we talked together like that. So that thing could have probably went on for double the amount of time. It was really, really nice for us. So yeah, I hope that you'll type in AAA Battery to your computer after hearing this thing and listen to some of their music, Spookey Ruben. It's important to dig for this music. It really is. For these are the real troubadours, putting quality and heart and soul into what they're doing. You've got to scratch the surface, guys. You've got to. There's so much good stuff out there. And the fact is that you're not going to hear a lot of the greatness that is there because it's buried, I mean, we're going to the third and fourth dimension with some of this stuff. You're not putting on the radio, even on the college stations or on some like kooky FM spot. You're not hearing AAA Battery. Go to their Bandcamp page, listen to the stuff, man. It's there for you and you're going to enjoy it. And don't stop there. Buy a record, buy a digital download or something. Let these guys know that you're there, and maybe throw a penny in the tip jar, and they'll soon enough be able to make a new record, which I do believe is coming sooner than later. Now, before I sign off here, just want to remind you to listen to us, Music Survival Guide, us on YouTube, Music Survival Guide podcast. Download the episodes for free on SoundCloud while they are there. Usually each week when when I'm clicking away at the keyboard all night trying to get all this stuff uploaded before we publish, we usually publish on Wednesdays, which was the traditional way I originally started. The blog was publishing all of my writing and reviews and all that cool stuff on Wednesdays, so I'm kind of sticking with that. With SoundCloud, I have the free account, so I only can have so much space on there. So when these episodes are super long, I have to get rid of the previous one. So right now up there, I think, is the Nox Cult episode, which we did, episode 3 last week. Like I said, it's 2.5 hours, so I was able to squeeze that in there. And it's a free download, so go over there and download it, save it for later, or collect the Music Survival Guide podcasts. That's always fun. I like to collect stuff. Maybe you will like to collect this. Who knows? But yeah, officialsoda.com. I'm probably always going to say that toward the end of each show, because that's my website. That's my HQ for all the fun stuff that I've been doing for so many years, and some cool junk that I sell, homemade or music related or anything soda centric. It's over there. Click over there, once in a while to see what I'm doing. I said to Monkey when I came over here, I was like, I have to get up at like 2:30 a.m. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm going to do this show, one of my Soda's Crafty Chaos shows over in Warminster, Pennsylvania, at this really neat venue for this thing called ZoloCon, which is just going to be like an ultimate geek fest. But the doors open so early, man. They have an 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. VIP thing that they're doing. I guess people spent a couple extra bucks on their tickets to come in early and get their hands on some really cool goodies. I want to leave you here, though, with one final track from the AAA Battery record, Corrosion of Buddha, which is their second record, which we've been talking a lot about for the past half hour or so. This track, man, it's so great. It's called Landfills, a Meditation. After I first heard this, I so wished that maybe these guys would or might make a totally new age kind of meditative record one day. Come to find out, with my talking with Fred this week, Fred is super duper into meditation, and that's awesome. I really don't meditate. I maybe did a few times, one in particular when I was, I guess 2.5 years ago when I was on tour. My friend in California, she lives in San Diego. She's a masseuse now, and she's studying, really centering yourself and massage therapy and meditation. We meditated together, and it was really, really cool. Really cool because we're both like psycho Geminis, and when we were littler, we were like just the nuttiest, most untamed humans on the planet. Not to say that we're still not totally untamed. We're a little tamer now, but it was neat to sit and meditate with her, my Gemini sister. It was fun. So expect a third record from AAA Battery, like I said, sooner than later. Fred mentioned a title to me, but I don't want to give the title away yet. It's not for me to give the title away. It's not my record. They're working on it, hopefully. And Spooky, Joe, and Fred, and maybe some other friends will be involved with that thing, and it'll be wicked. And I'm excited to hear another one. So, Landfills and Meditation. Be well, everybody. Okay? Take care of each other. I'm Soda from Music Survival Guide. Landfills, a Meditation. Peace.
Headed for big trouble. There once was a mountain that I adored. It reached as far as the wall. The peaks were real sharp, the valleys deep. We all were afraid of the quantum leap. Now that it's gone, there's nothing around. Just the hair off the scalp of the dried up ground. You can't replace what keeps getting waxed, but to start anew, what the old one must be hatched. You look for life, but nothing's there. The sound of death is everywhere. Pull up your filth, but you don't care. The onslaught has just begun.